It was a night drenched in silence, the kind that settles in after midnight, when even the wind seems to hold its breath. Mia knew she shouldn't have taken the shortcut through the old, abandoned mansion on Hillcrest. But time wasn't on her side, and curiosity had a way of overriding her better judgment. As her flashlight flickered, she swallowed back a wave of unease and pushed forward, her footsteps echoing off cracked, decaying walls. The air grew thick, heavy, as if something unseen was watching her every move. Shadows twisted in the corners, and she could have sworn she heard whispers skittering across the walls, murmuring her name in voices just out of reach. But the worst was still ahead. She turned a corner and froze, her heart plummeting. A figure was crouched at the end of the hall, a pale woman in tattered, ancient clothing, her face hidden by a curtain of filthy, tangled hair. The woman didn't move, but the air around her shimmered like heat on a desert road. Mia took a step back, but before she could retreat, the woman's head snapped up. Sunken eyes, hollow and black as midnight, locked onto Mia with a hunger that made her skin crawl. "Leave!" the figure rasped, her voice the sound of bone on bone. Mia's hand fumbled, reaching for her flashlight, but the beam went out, plunging her into darkness. Then she heard it, the shuffling of footsteps, slow and dragging. A low growl echoed through the hall, and with mounting terror, Mia realized it wasn't coming from the woman. She turned, every instinct screaming at her to run. Behind her, in the deep blackness, two red eyes gleamed, smouldering like embers. A demon, its hulking frame twisted and bent, claws scraping along the floor as it moved toward her. "Mia!" it hissed, her name crawling from its lips in a mockery of human sound. Paralyzed, she watched as the figure of the woman began to warp, contorting until her jaw unhinged, stretching wide, far too wide, revealing rows of sharp, needle-like teeth. The demon and the ghost moved together, a symphony of nightmare stalking toward her. The demon's voice was dark and guttural, dripping with malice. "Once you enter, you belong to us." Mia tried to scream, but it died in her throat as skeletal hands reached from the walls, pulling her into a writhing, suffocating mass of shadow. Cold fingers clawed at her skin, and her vision blurred as the voices swelled, each one a tortured soul forever trapped within the walls of the mansion. And just as the light began to fade, she heard a final blood-chilling whisper right beside her ear. "You will never leave." The flashlight clattered to the ground, flickering one last time in the empty, dead silence.